Hello there, I'm Rob Birdwell, and this is going to be a brief presentation on a tool called PruneStack. What is PruneStack? It's a plugin for MuseScore, specifically 3.3x or higher, but there's a version for 2x as well. It's a simple plugin to prune notes from a chord stack selection, if that makes any sense. Its plugin home is right here at this URL on musescore.org, and you can download the source code on GitHub, and just search for PruneStack. You'll find it. You're going to use PruneStack when you're orchestrating, arranging from a cadence score, when you're assigning jazz-style block voicings to various stabs, and when the explode notes to stabs tool in MuseScore is not practical. And let me clarify that by saying it's almost always practical. It's a great tool. But there's a couple scenarios when it may not be, and you might want to have PruneStack in your toolkit and use it in conjunction with explode notes. When you want to reduce lots of clicks to remove notes. So this may make more sense to you when I'm giving you the actual demo. So don't bore us, get to the demo. Okay, here we go. Here's PruneStack. I'm running MuseScore 3.3.x, and it's a fantastic music notation program. And I've got up a score, or a sketch rather, on the top two stabs, and I'm going to orchestrate this real quickly, and I'm going to use the PruneStack plugin to help me do this. I could use explode notes, but that's not the purpose of this demo. I want to kind of illustrate the scenario when you might want to use PruneStack. So by stacked notes, well, let's look at this first measure. You see a line going up and down, and it's a couplet in two parts. And as an orchestrator, I'm going to make a decision who's going to get these notes, who's going to play this. And in my decision, I'm not going to use the oboe, bassoon, or alto saxophone. Again, suspend belief. So I want to have the flute and clarinet play this fantastic, well-crafted line. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to paste it to the clarinet. Great. But how do I get rid of the notes? In the case of the flute, I want to get rid of the bottom part. In the case of the clarinet, I want to get rid of the top part. So I'm going to use PruneStack, and here's how. Select this whole line, these 5 measures here, and go to your plugins, and this presupposes you have this tool installed, and I'll get to that in a second. This is all just off the cuff to see if you even want to use this thing. Select it, and you shall get the wonderful PruneStack plugin. This is marvelous technology. I'm on the shoulders of giants here, but it's a QML script with some GUI and a little bit of functionality, a few hundred lines of code. So anyway, nuts and bolts there. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, hey, flute part, I'm going to just prune out your bottom level. And that's what we're regarding this note G to start with, and this F sharp here. That whole line, because it's a couplet and it's 2 parts, I'm going to just prune that out. And I'm going to click PruneStack. Bam! It's gone. I'm going to do the same thing for the clarinet part. Again, go to your plugins, select PruneStack, and in this case, I've got 2 levels. The top level is the flute part, so I'm going to prune that out. Clarinet don't need to see that part. Good. So now I have just successfully orchestrated those 2 lines for those 2 players now have a brilliant part to play. Let's go on to the brass section, how I'm going to orchestrate that. So in this case, I'd like the trumpet, French horn, and trombone to play these lines. It suits them, and I'll be done, and I can go on a break and do my thing. So I'm going to paste that to the trumpet. Ignore the range things. We're going to solve that in a second. And now that I've got it, let's get that trumpet part pruned, And so I'm going to prune the bottom two voices. There's three voices. I prune those. For the French horn, the middle voice, I'm going to prune voices 1 and 3 and keeping that middle part. And for the trombone, that lucky player is going to get to play the bottom line, so I'm going to prune out 3 and 2, and there we go. I saved a lot of clicks doing that, and I have a satisfying orchestration of that. Let's see that. Yep, that's going to be very playable and nice. Okay, let's take a quick listen to this masterpiece. First, the score here. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so that's the composition. Let's hear our orchestration work here. We've got flute, clarinet, trumpet, French horn, and trombone, and all quickly orchestrated via the quick help of PruneStack. Voila! So in summary, I've shown you the PruneStack plugin for MuseScore. It's useful when you're dealing with jazz or stacked block chords, a block set of notes that run vertical, that the horizontal lines have the same number of notes in them. When you're going to select one or more measures in a single staff. You're going to select the levels in the chord to remove or prune the lowest to highest in the stack. And then you're going to click that PruneStack plugin. And I should mention, you can undo and revert your most plugin operations. It's usually a good practice. So before any operation runs, you can undo all of what you just did. Okay, next up, I'm just going to really quickly show you how you would install this thing. As I mentioned previously, you're going to need to install this plugin, PruneStack, and you're going to get it from GitHub, and you can go to the URL I provided earlier, or you can just search for PruneStack across GitHub, and if you're lucky, you're going to find this Birdwell Music PruneStack. That's this one we're talking about, and you're going to find it a list of files in there. This is a code repository. If you're not comfortable with code, don't worry. It's just a bunch of files, and what we're looking for in this case would be the PruneStack 3x QML. So you're going to download that, and where you download that sort of matters. So let me just switch over to MuseScore. And let's go to I'm just going to show you where your plugins may be installed. This will be different for you, but if you look on the General tab and the Preferences, there's a listing of folders, and it includes plugins. So this is your clue to where your plugins, your own personal plugins. There's some kind of built-in plugins in MuseScore, but those may or may not be. They may be overwritten, but the plugins in your users folder are not going to be overwritten or changed when you upgrade MuseScore or versions change. So make note of that, and I've done that. Also notice in Windows those forward slashes are great for Linux, but if we're in Windows, you're not going to want to cut and copy and paste this. You're going to want to change those forward slashes to backward slashes. That's kind of anyway. Hopefully you don't have to worry about that. But let's go back to GitHub, and let's download this. Now you may be inclined to click it, in which case you'll see the code, and this is it, the code for it. I was new to plugin programming, and I stood on the shoulders of giants, and somehow just through sheer willpower got it to work. I do some software development, but nothing quite like this, and it was kind of fun. And it's a great platform that the people who envisioned MuseScore put together. This ability to extend the program for people to write little plugins to solve their little problems or help the community out. So anyway, You can do it a couple ways. One trick is to go raw and right click and then do a save as or copy and paste. I'm not going to do that. Another way to do this would be to simply go back to where we were to download the plugin and just right click on it, or however you do it on your Mac or whatever, and we're going to save this link as, and hopefully you remembered that path that you copied it and you got rid of the forward slashes and all that jazz, and you get it right. Let me see, I need one more backslash. Excellent. So I'm going to try to save this to that directory, and I did it. And then I can go and see, yes, I've got it installed here. And at that point, I'd go back into MuseScore, and I would go to my plugins. I'd go to my plugin manager. I would say reload plugins, and it should show me that, hey, PruneStack is here. It's in that area there, and I can select it, and bing bobby doo, I got it there. And let's just see if it's working. I'll just do a quick little selection there, and let's give our oboe some love, and we can always double up, and voila. And let's give you oboe, let's give you the lower part there. Okay, that's all you get, oboe. Asterisk oboe. That's how you install. Again, that's not a comprehensive or probably even the best example. Far from it. Go to MuseScore.org or .com, and there are many demos on YouTube and whatnot that'll give you a lot more clarity on plugin development and other plugins and other ways to use MuseScore. Okay, I'm going to sign off. That's good. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy music making. Bye-bye.